strong limb.
Remember your roots.
Drink plenty of water.
Be connected with beauty.
Enjoy the view. Character is like a tree, and reputation its shadow.
The shadow is what we think it is, and the tree is the real thing. It would cost $36 trillion to create enough oxygen for us in 6 months.
Trees do it for free. A society grows great when old men plant trees whose shade they know will never sit in.
A tree living 50 years will make $31,250 worth of oxygen. It does 2,000 worth of air pollution control.
It adds 31,250 worth the soil fertility and erosion control. It is a home for animals worth $31,250, but doesn't include all the extras like fruit, lumber, or beauty, which is priceless. Okay, so stay in your order and come over here then. Follow Cynthia. And then once you guys are done. Okay, we memorized some spring poems, and trees are mentioned in a lot of them, and we'd like to share them with you. The first one's called The Wind, and I heard someone make the comment that the stronger the wind, the stronger the trees. We must have really, really strong trees here in Boulder City. Here you go.
I saw you toss the kites on high and blow the birds above the sky. And all around I heard you pass like lady skirts across the grass. A wind a-blowing all day long, a wind that sings so loud and song.
I saw the different things you did, but always you yourself came in. I felt you push, I heard you call. I could not see yourself at all. A wind of blowing all day long, a wind that sings so loud a song. Oh, you are so strong and cold, O blower, are you young or older? Are you beast of field and tree, or just a strong child of me? Oh, a wind of blowing all day long, a wind the April wind do?
I come to work as well as play. I'll tell you what I do. I whistle all the way on day. I toss the branches up and down and shake them to and fro. I roll the leaves, toss and roll and set them free. I stray the twigs upon the ground, rose and earth I sweep. I blow the children round and round and wake the clouds from sleep.
This one's clouds. We need clouds, so we have rain for our trees. Okay, last one is called the elf and the dormouse.
Trembled the wee elf, frightened and yet fearing to fly away lest he get wet. In their shelter, maybe a mile, sat in the wee elf smiled a wee smile. Tugged till the toadstool toppled in two, holding it over him gaily he flew. Soon he was safe home dry and clean. He soon woke the dormouse, good gracious me.
So you guys ready to come on in and do it? Let's do it. Okay, you're going to help plant the tree, and Dave's going to give you instructions, and then we'll go from there. David?
Hey, you guys. I want you to be extremely careful with the shovels because they are sharp, and they can cut toes and fingers. So be very careful when you use them. We're going to put you one or two people at a time digging, and as we have you dig, we'll just have you set it outside the hole, and put the word of the day, 2 words of the day, is to be careful, okay?
All right, here, I'll show you how to do it.
Okay, everyone's finished? Okay, everyone just step back. You want to take a shovel pole? Get a picture of you? You want him to take? You want your teacher to take a shovel? Here we go. Okay. Let's see how big. Oh, look at that one. Good job. All right. Come on, guys. You guys ready?
Everyone step back, okay? You guys ready? Good job. Very, very good job. Everyone step back.
Our official Boulder City.
Hey guys, if you want to finish it off. We're done. We're locked in. Can I have your attention? Hey, we'd like to thank you all for participating in the Arbor Day celebration today. Let's give Public Works a big hand for digging the holes and helping out. And excellent work, excellent work. So remember, 5-10 years down the road, you can always come by here and look at your tree that you planted. This is your tree now, okay? And you can bring your kids and do all that good stuff. But remember, we have to protect our trees, and if you see somebody vandalizing a tree, you have to take care of it and report it, okay? Well, thanks again, and another year down the drain. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you.
WPRO Saturday Morning News on News Talk 630 WPRO at 99.7 FM. WPRO News Time 622. A 12-year-old boy from Colorado, Matthew Moniz, and his dad Mike from Rhode Island are climbing the highest mountains in the U.S., 50 peaks in 50 days, and you're doing it for a good cause.
Yep. My best friend Ian Hess has pulmonary arterial hypertension, and it's a disease in the heart and lungs. And I'm trying to raise money for that disease. It's like a kind of orphan disease. We're best friends for basically like our whole lives. We met each other when we were like yay big.
Pulmonary hypertension is the high blood pressure in the lungs, and it can cause heart failure. I think I was diagnosed with it at the age of 5.
I think mountain climbing is the only really sport or thing you can do to feel what people with BAH have, like what they feel all the time. So I think that's kind of why I climb a lot of mountains, because it's fun, and also because I can kind of feel what Ian feels every day.
Our primary goal was raising awareness around pulmonary hypertension, which, as you know, we've talked about, is it's a big focus of the family here. We want to make sure that we continue to bring awareness to that. It's an easy disease to forget about.
We needed something on a larger scale, so we thought, what a great idea to do the high points in each state in less than 50 days.
If you don't get up Denali, then the whole expedition is really moot. At least trying to achieve 50 states in 50 days. Here we go. We're starting out of base camp. Clearly, the opportunity for failure is pretty high, at about 50% on average success rate on Denali. And weather and everything else, you know, you're really rolling the dice on trying to bank the entire expedition success on that.
Summit day, Joel, of course, helped us a lot on that, and we started out super early in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, but usually people started like more close to like 10 o'clock, and it's perfect. Like, the weather's awesome. Up there, you get on the summit ridge, and you're like, by that time, if there's good weather, you're like, I'm going to make it to the summit.
You having fun?
Yeah.
We're going to make the summit?
Huh?
We're going to make the summit? All right. Get going, buddy.
There's complete drops. You're walking on this knife edge ridge, and it's like 30 minutes, but it feels like 5.
Matt, where are you? And?
United States.
All right.
North America!
It's really interesting because I don't think people really view traveling around the U.S. as exciting as it really could be.
Driving up on number 8 here, and hopefully we'll be able to get all the way up to the top of it in the van and stay nice and dry. But hope for the best.
There are some absolutely astoundingly beautiful places in areas like Arkansas, Missouri, and we saw some fantastic sights and some impressive sunrises and beautiful rolling mountains across these, promontories that were just really, challenged your view of things. Meeting different people, seeing the different cultures, and realizing that your impressions of what things look like are really not always what they are.
I hear the train coming around the bend. I ain't seen my honey since 1910. Hell, I'm gonna burn that camera up.
All right, let's go.
Now, what are y'all really doing, really? I mean, I'm crazy.
So, he's climbing the high point of every state in the United States, trying to break
you've been up on Magazine Mountain and climbed it, huh?
Yeah.
See, that's the highest mountain between the Rockies and the Alleghenies. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Get that off. I don't play that boy tunes. Mm-hmm. It's an RCA, I think. I don't think so. Is it? Are you paid to think, or you paid to sit there? Well, there was over, they come in the cafe over this morning, and hell, I didn't know what, maybe some of them people come in from Mars or something, so I got up and went to ask them questions.
We got it on the road. We're actually literally trying to set a world record, but it was a pleasure taking a break here.
Yeah.
Well, it's a pleasure y'all coming by one of us old redneck archies, because, hell, I don't know nothing. Yeah. Well, good luck.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate it. Have a good day. How many states have you been in? Well, we've done 14 summits so far. So we got 36 more to go.
I think he was kind of like man of the town kind of guy.
Perfect. Got it.
We've done 3 of the day, and interestingly enough, I live like almost at this altitude.
I think the Appalachian Express will be kind of cool too. We'll be zooming through the Appalachia and seeing a whole different type of mountain and certainly a different culture.
We need an official entrance announcement for the High Point Hunters. So when we come, people know the High Point Hunters are in town. So you're going to start out of camera over there. I'll start out of frame over here. High Point Hunters.
Bunch of other
Bunch of
hikes.
high points.
Yeah. Your feet turn up like that.
Our thing here, it's apparently called a hiker rash, and I'm not really sure what it's from, but those are chigabites. Those are just 2 of many, and they're about probably 10% of the original size. Anyway, no, the ankle has been rolling like thunder throughout the last couple of climbs. I'm glad to have a little bit of time to rest it. About 30 hours or so. That should heal it up nicely. Perfectly. Yeah, sure. Fortunately, I only have Mount Rainier, Mount Hood, Gannett, Granite, and Kings and Boris Peaks left before I can rest my ankle. So I'm almost done. I guess we're hoping for a safe trip, good weather. The Northwest has been confounding us quite a bit with just bizarre weather patterns, which I think we experience in Alaska as well. So we're hoping for a break in the weather and some good stable snow to climb on and safe conditions.
We're just waking up to go to the summit of Rainier and come back down. And we have to wake up early because all of the crevasses are frozen up right now. It's about 1 o'clock. Yeah. And we got 600 feet, vertical feet below the summit. So probably another half an hour walking. When we had to get turned back because there's a pretty brutal storm. So we went back down to Camp Muir. We were planning on packing up and heading straight down and trying to do Rainier in a one-day push. But the storm was so bad that we couldn't even get down. So we decided to wait it out one more day. And the next morning, We woke up and we looked outside our tent, and it was perfect weather, clear blue skies. We're on the summit of Rainier, hardest peak in the lower 48. We made the summit in like 3 hours, so a really, really good time. We were nice and happy and warm and everything. With Rainier, like, I think when we came down from the summit, I'm like, how the heck are we going to break the record now? Because we just lost like 3 days.
I think the craziest stretch, the one that's got our attention the most, is the last few peaks, Wyoming, Gannett, and Granite in Montana, and then our Salt Lake City peak, which is, or rather, I'm sorry, Utah peak is Kings. Those are no kidding hard peaks. That's going to be really our kind of final push.
Never good.
Hey, peak number 57.
57 states in the United States?
Yep.
50.
2 more real peaks and then...
Did you say 57?
47. You know, I kind of think of Ian a lot of times, and this is kind of how he feels the whole time. And I choose to do mountaineering, and he kind of has to be at high altitude. Like, it's like mandatory kind of thing. So, I mean, that's kind of how I deal with it, you know?
As I talk to people who've climbed Granite, I'm astounded to hear that how many people have climbed it 2, 3, and 4 times before they reach the summit.
We just kind of started to hit the outskirts of rocks, and it started getting to high fourth class climbing. The summit kind of stood up there, and there's like it's exposure all around you. So I think that was probably one of the most interesting summits besides Denali.
Yeah, you know, finishing up in Mauna Kea, it was surreal. You know, the whole finishing and stepping there and completing it hadn't really sunk in on how big an actual expedition it had been, how much ground we covered.
When we got to the top, we were all like kind of bursting with joy. And the next day, I woke up and I'm like, okay, what mountain? And I'm like, oh no, we're in Hawaii.
It's one of the greatest experiences in my life. Just, you know, it's hard to even put into words how cool and how impressive and how impactful it would be.
Many soldiers returned home from the War of 45 to find the America, one they had fought for, had changed. The new labor force, which had previously been overlooked, left many boys without jobs. James Warwick was no exception.
My foreman told me about your mother. I'm awful sorry. Look, son, I just don't have room for you right now. I got too many people on the payroll as it is.
That's okay, sir. I understand. Thanks for your time, Mr. Foreman.
Sure. You bet.
Now, one of the key provisions of the GI Bill was no interest home loans for returning soldiers. And while many of his fellow GIs used the bill to buy houses, James sold his home to pay for hospital bills. And an inevitable funeral. With the bills piling up, James took a job, one that few would even consider.
Good morning, Mrs. Creighton.
Good morning, James.
How are you today?
Doing just fine, and yourself?
Oh, wonderful. It's hard not to be on such a pretty day.
Yes, indeed.
There you go. Thank you. But I couldn't possibly. Have a nice day, Mrs. Creighton.
You too, James.
Come on, man. We're never going to be rich men if you keep giving our tips away.
50 cents wasn't going to make us rich. Besides, your last suit doesn't have any pockets.
Meaning?
Meaning, her husband was in my company. Landed in France, he's buried there now. The money he has in his pocket doesn't mean nothing. Can't take it with you, man.
All right, preacher. Hurry up.
A couple years of this would have gotten the best of any man, even James Warwick. Those simple pickup games under the setting sun made even the longest day damn near tolerable.
All right, batter up. Look alive out there, fellas.
Now, the record books don't say this, but in 1941, two men were called up from Daytona to play for the National League. One was future Hall of Famer Stan the Man Musial. The other, James Warwick.
All right, preacher. Let's see it.
What the hell's that?
Your stance. What kind of stance is that? Just throw the ball. Your funeral, pal.
5 years at war can change a lineup. Older players retire, new ones take their place. So it should have been two future Hall of Famers became one. Stan was drafted to the outfield of the St. Louis Cardinals. James was drafted to the 101st Airborne. Inevitably, the sun would set, the game would end, and James would always find his way down the street to St. Rita's.
Hey, Harvey. How's it going?
Not too bad. Got a good hot meal. Can't beat that.
Time can change a lot of people.
I'll see you over there, Harvey.
But every so often there is a rock.
Hey, Ray.
One who's always there.
This is great.
Only the best for you, Ray.
A safe sequel.
For many, James was just that.
You know, you talk when you write. I could hear you over my office. Sounded a lot like that garbage man crap again.
Mr. Landry, I can explain.
Listen, there's two pieces. Take your pick. But lose the garbage man.
There's a story there.
That may be, but it's not the news I want you to write. It's a waste of time. So drop it.
Right, and we're here to bring you the latest updates on the game. State looks like they are the best team on the top of the court. That's actually quite an improvement from that team meetings ago.
So the team has come back around. They've managed to do excellent teamwork and secure a couple of flies.
Yes, that's right. And actually, if you look right now, they've got a man on first as Franklin moves up to the first.
Yeah, and that kid has the swing that
He sure does. He sure does. He's doing real well. And actually, if you look out on the pictures down there, Mingowitz looks a little tense. Don't you see that?
Yeah, what would it be with the stance that kid has? It's true. I mean, look at him.
Well, I mean, you don't see many like.
Not many people aspire to be a garbage man. It's not exactly a glamorous job. Maybe if he hadn't been drafted, or if his mother had not taken ill, maybe then we'd be talking about the grand slam he hit in the '46 World Series, or when he was inducted into Cooperstown in '69. To many people, James Warwick was more than just an ordinary man. To the poor, a saint. To his boss, a die-hard worker. And to those that knew him, a lifelong friend. To me, he's just another person in a story. A grain of sand on the shores of time. So many unimportant people do so many important things. And every moment of their lives is as if they were never here.
All right. Next victim.
From 1949 until 1958, James Warwick was my mother's garbage man. And even in her youth, she understood his kindness. She spoke of him often. There's one thing she said about James, is that he followed his heart. He took a higher path. Yesterday, James Warwick passed away after 35-odd years as a garbage man. He did many deeds that most men, good men, don't even do. He lived for others. He lived for the game. He lived.
What do you guys want to do?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
I don't know. What do you want to do?
One, two, ready, go. Gonna pull the stops, gonna make it go. Drop down, gagged and bound, just sitting down and getting nowhere. You're living on a wing and a prayer. Gonna put them things together. You know it's now or never. You're building me.
What do you guys want to do now?
So excited that 2015 marks the beginning of our celebration of our 125th anniversary since our founding. We have so many great things planned, ways to reflect on our past, to consider the amazing women who started this organization, but most importantly, the women who have built it to what it is today. 125 years of service to God, home, and country. In October of 1890, there were 4 women who came together to organize a society. 2 were from the North, 2 were from the South. They wanted to unite this organization to honor the patriotism and the magnificent men and women who served to make America free. The objectives that they decided at the very first meeting were historic preservation, education, and patriotism. That's exactly what our objectives still are today. We are still actively preserving and marking historic buildings and sites. We are still promoting education through impacting thousands of children and students throughout this country. We are actively promoting good citizenship and support of our military and our veterans through our commitment of our hundreds of thousands of hours of service and of dollars as well. We have planned so many different activities for this current year, and we really want, most of all, for every member to feel a part of the celebration. Among the special activities, we'll have an expanded social media. We're going to have our own Facebook page where the chapters can tell us the stories of what they are doing in their communities and how they are celebrating our anniversary. We will also have special events at Continental Congress, so a look back in our history, but a look forward as well. We are asking each chapter to do is to consider taking on a special service project to celebrate this 125th anniversary, finding something special and doing that in your community to make everyone aware of how vital and relevant DAR is and how we are still serving America. We will also be presenting several videos throughout the year that will help tell our story. We have some remarkable items in our NSDAR archive, such as the original charter of the National Society, and we are eager to share those with our members. The more we learn about our history, the more inspired and energized I think we will all be. We will have a number of commemorative items available to celebrate this anniversary as well. Everything from a key ring to a beautiful limited edition commemorative plate, a presentation bowl, or a silver spoon. We will have a special certificate available for everyone who becomes a member in 2015. This is the time to encourage your relatives and your friends to become a member. This is the time to join the DAR. Please stay up to date on the blog and in the website and in the magazine so that you too will know of some of the exciting opportunities that we have. 125 years later, our members are still as passionate about historic preservation, education, and patriotism as they were in 1890. I hope you will take part in this celebration. We'll learn more about our history, become engaged in the work of your chapter, your state society, the national society, and that your membership in DAR will be as important to you as my membership is to me.
As the United States marked 100 years in existence, a new sentiment arose among Americans to connect with its founding history. In the spring of 1876, Philadelphia hosted the Centennial Exposition, which helped give rise to an era of colonial revival. Patriotic organizations began to form, including the Sons of the American Revolution in 1889. The following year, the Sons voted to exclude women from the group, galvanizing a force for the creation of a new women's organization. Mary Smith Lockwood wrote in a letter printed in the Washington Post detailing the legend of Hannah Arnett, who in 1776 courageously prevented a meeting of men from proclaiming loyalty with the British. Lockwood wrote, "Were there no mothers of the Revolution? Where will the sons and daughters of the Revolution place Hannah Arnett?" Mary Smith Lockwood's letter would be a catalyst for action. William O. McDowell, founding member of the Sons of the American Revolution and great-grandson of Hannah Arnett, was immediately moved. He penned a response calling on women to form their own organization. Gatherings were held at various private residences throughout the summer of 1890 between the lead organizers, Mary Smith Lockwood, Eugenia Washington, Mary DeShay, and Ellen Hardin Walworth. The culmination of these meetings occurred on October 11th, with the first organizational meeting with 18 women in attendance, as well as 4 supportive members of the Sons of the American Revolution, who would act as an advisory board. Also in attendance was Mary Elliott Cabell, who would serve as vice president presiding and whose home would be the first headquarters for the daughters. She would seek out a lady prominent in the United States to serve as the first President General. Caroline Scott Harrison, the First Lady of the United States, would fill that position until her death in 1892. In that first year, membership applications flooded in, and fundraising efforts commenced on the first project, to erect a monument in Fredericksburg, Virginia, to mark the birthplace of Mary Washington, mother to George Washington. On February 22, 1892, the First Continental Congress was held at the Church of Our Father in Northwest Washington, D.C. As Ellen Hardin Walworth would write in 1893, "It is not a social organization. It is an order patriotic, historical, and genealogical, and hold itself closely to these objects." This new society would harness a desire for service that would help usher in the progressive era in the United States and create a legacy for future generations of women.
Serving as your President General is the privilege of a lifetime. But having the opportunity to serve our national society during this, our 125th year, has been an extraordinary experience. As I travel from coast to coast and truly around the world, I am awed by your devotion to our ideals. You have demonstrated in thousands of ways the enduring relevancy of our mission. In projects large and small, you are fulfilling a pledge made by a small group of women in 1890 that future generations would remember, would appreciate, and would celebrate the sacrifice and values that make America the greatest nation on earth. And for that, I thank you and I salute you. I also thank Presley M. Wagoner, Honorary President General, who served as the chair of our Celebrate 125 committee during this, our anniversary year. It is a joy for me to ask her to help us honor those who created and shaped the society we celebrate this evening. Mrs. Wagoner.
Madam President General, we gather this